It's flu season and millions of Americans are lining up to get their flu shots. Most of these folks won't have any adverse side effects or injuries due to the flu shot. However, in very rare instances, some will develop an autoimmune disorder called AIDP, or Acute Inflammatory Demyelinating Polyneuropathy. Now, this is an autoimmune disorder, which means that your immune system is attacking your own body or your central nervous system. This is a subtype of Guillain-Barré syndrome, which is, like we said, an autoimmune disorder. So the immune system is attacking your own body or your own nervous system. This subtype of Guillain-Barré syndrome has been recognized as a reaction to the flu shot by the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. AIDP was first recognized over a century ago, and it is the most common subtype of Guillain-Barré syndrome, accounting for 90% of cases. The symptoms of AIDP include numbness or a tingling sensation in the extremities, and that may progress up into your torso. Weakness in your extremities, which could impair your gait or ambulation. Trouble swallowing, breathing, or talking is also a common symptom, as well as pain and sometimes paralysis. Now, these are very serious symptoms and they require immediate treatment, because if left untreated, this disorder can be life-threatening. Most of the time, the onset of any of these symptoms occurs within 3 days and 42 days following the flu vaccine. Once you seek treatment, hopefully you will be admitted to a hospital, because that's the best place to treat you for this type of injury. And the doctors will most likely conduct various tests to determine whether or not you have GBS and which subtype of GBS you have, including a spinal tap or lumbar puncture to test the cerebral spinal fluid, or a EMG or nerve conduction study. Now, either of these tests can confirm your diagnosis. Once confirmed, there are various treatment methodologies for the doctors to use, including IVIG treatment, which is immune therapy to help fight off the infection, plasma exchange, and either of these courses of treatment can take anywhere from 5 days to a week. Following these treatments, if they're successful, you'll most likely be referred out for physical or occupational therapy and sometimes speech therapy if your symptoms included any trouble swallowing, breathing, or talking. These courses of treatment can take anywhere from weeks to months, depending on the severity of your symptoms. And eventually, you will most likely regain your strength, regain sensation in your extremities. However, for some individuals, there are some residual symptoms, some residual weakness, some residual gait problems, or some residual numbness or tingling in their extremities. And unfortunately, sometimes these residual symptoms can become permanent. As far as length of time for dealing with these symptoms, what the numbers will tell you is that 50% of individuals with AIDP will make a full recovery within 1 year. However, 30% of individuals will still experience some residual symptoms even 3 years after their diagnosis. Now, if you've been diagnosed with Guillain-Barré syndrome, and more specifically AIDP, and you suspect that it was caused by the flu shot, or your doctor tells you that it's been caused by the flu shot, you may be eligible for compensation through the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program, because the program recognizes a connection between the flu shot and Guillain-Barré syndrome. Now, if you are one of these individuals, you may be eligible for the program. There are certain criteria that you would have to meet first, including being within the statute of limitations for filing a petition. Now, an individual has 3 years from the onset of their symptoms of the vaccine injury in which to file a petition in the program. So if you're within that 3-year window, you can file a petition. The program is also limited to individuals receiving vaccines within the United States, with limited exceptions. If you're working or stationed abroad and you receive a vaccine, you would still also be eligible. Now, assuming you meet all the criteria for filing, the process includes drafting a petition, filing that petition with the U.S. Court of Federal Claims, and then supporting that petition with evidence, including your medical records, detailing your diagnosis, your treatment, any affidavits from you or family or friends, attesting to the onset of your symptoms or the course of your treatment or your current condition. Once the petition and all the evidence have been filed, the Department of Health and Human Services will assign what they call a medical reviewer to review all of your medical records, review the allegations in your petition, and make a determination as to whether or not they're going to concede or dispute the fact of your vaccine injury. If there is a dispute, the U.S. Court of Federal Claims, the judge assigned to the case, will resolve any of those disputes between yourself, the petitioner, and the government as respondent. Now, assuming either the government concedes your vaccine injury, in this case AIDP was caused by the flu shot, or the judge finds that the flu shot caused your AIDP, you will be entitled to compensation. And the compensation includes any out-of-pocket medical expenses, so anything incurred out-of-pocket during your course of stay at the hospital, during therapy, anything incurred over the counter, any medical equipment, any renovations to your home, for example, anything that you had to pay out of pocket that's related to your care and treatment and recovery from AIDP is eligible for reimbursement. Likewise, any lost wages or earnings as a result of this injury are also eligible for reimbursement, which in this case, with this type of injury, are most likely to be incurred because of a course of treatment at the hospital, because of therapy that often takes weeks or months. There's most likely going to be some element of lost wages or earnings. And finally, there is compensation for pain and suffering as well. And pain and suffering damages is compensation meant to reimburse you for the severity of your pain, for the impact that this injury has on your daily life. So they look at the medical records, but they also look at testimonials. So your own account of your day-to-day life living with AIDP, maybe the accounts of your family or friends, of their observations of you before this injury and after the injury, and if there are some residual symptoms, your own account of what your life looks like now after your diagnosis.